In this video, we are going to look at the coordinate geometry, and this branch of mathematics covers the subtopics like the length of a straight line, gradient, the midpoint, equation of the straight line in a gradient form, and so on. So let's begin by now. First, we'll look at how to find the equation of not the equation, but the length or the distance of a straight line. So let's say we have a diagram, we have an XY plane. Then let's say we have this line and we have our point A and maybe our point B here. And if the question is find the distance of the 2 points A and B. So now the formula for the distance, and this should be in a coordinate form. So the formula for distance, so distance is equal to the square root of the difference between the x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this is the formula that you have to use whenever you are trying to find the distance between 2 points given the pair of coordinates. Now let's dive into examples. So let's have the first example. So here we'll find the distance between P and R. So let's say here we have our P has coordinates -3, +3. Our R has 9, -2. Let's say our distance, we'll also look at distance AB, where A has coordinates 9, 5. B has coordinates -3, 13. Then our 3 will just find the distance between J and K, where J is -5, 4. And our K is -2, -7. So what we are going to do is we can now begin with the first part. Let's find the distance PR. So first we need to now assign, so the first pair, the X is X1, the Y is Y1, then X2, Y2. From there we are going to write our formula. So our formula is equal to x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Then after you've written the formula, we are going to substitute. Okay, so now we can see that from the pair of coordinates, the x2 is +9 minus the x1 is -3 squared plus the y2 is -2 minus the y1 is 3 squared. So we can see that here we have 9, so negative times -3, that is +3 squared, plus here we are going to have -5 since we have the same sign, so we add -5 squared. Then we can add here, so 9 plus 3 is 12 squared plus -5 squared. So we can now expand. 12 times 12 is 144 plus -5 times -5 is +25. 25 plus 144 is 169. The square root of 169 is 13. So this is how you should find the length of 2 points, or maybe we can just say the distance. So sometimes you may have a question where find the distance between A and B, or given the letters. So as long as you have been given the numbers in form of coordinates, this is the formula. Okay, now let's try our Roman number 2. So you can pause the video and give it a shot. So this one, we have point D is equal to So x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So now let's go back. So this is our x1, x2. So our x2 is 3 minus our x1 is positive 9 squared plus our y1 is 5 minus 13. So our y2 is 13. So 3 minus 9 is negative 6 squared plus 5 minus 13 is negative 80 squared. So negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36 plus negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64. 36 plus 64 is 100. Then the square root of 100 is 10. So the square root of a number is the number that you can multiply by its number to give you the number under the root. Okay, now let's do our last example. So here also the formula is distance is equal to so now, so the x2 is negative 2 minus negative 5 squared, y2 is negative 7 minus 4 squared. So negative 2, negative times negative, that is positive 5 squared, plus here we are going to add, that is negative 11 squared. So from this part we are going to subtract negative 2 plus 5 is positive 3 squared plus negative 11 squared. So 3 times 3 here is 9 plus 11 times 11 is 121. So 121 plus 9 is 130. So if you are dealing with mathematics where calculators are not allowed, you can just leave your answer here. So you can just say 130 because 130 has no perfect square number, so you can just leave it there. But if you are dealing with where calculators are allowed, then you can find the square root of 130. Okay, so now let's move on to now midpoint. So how do we find the midpoint of 2 points? Let's say we have an x or y plane here, then we have a line like this. So this is our point A, then our point B. So the midpoint is this point here, let's say our point C. So how do we find the midpoint? So this is what we want to now look at. So the way we find the midpoint is we need to add the x coordinate. Let's say here we can say we have the coordinates of A is x, y, and for B is x, y also. Now we are going to assign the ones for the first pair, then these will carry the 2. So if I want to find the midpoint of the x coordinate of C, what I'm going to do is I need to find the average of the x2 and the x1. So what we are saying is we need to add the pair, the x from the x2 plus the x from the line, then we divide by 2. So what we are saying is x2 plus x1 divided by 2. So also we are going to do the same to the y. So y2 plus y1 over 2. So this is the formula now you can use whenever you are looking at the midpoint. Okay, let's have an example for this one. Let's say we want to find the midpoint between point A and B, where our A is 6,3, our B is 4,5, Then the second one, we say our C is negative 3,4. Our D is negative 9,4. Then for point for question, okay, let's just do this. We'll look at that one later. First, let's look at 1 and 2. So the formula, midpoint is equal to, so whether if you want, you can say x2 plus x1 or x1 plus x2, it doesn't matter. So we can say x2 plus x1 over 2, comma, y2 plus y1 over 2. So the x2, so let's say x1, x2, y1, y2. So the x2 is 4 plus c, 6 over 2. Then from there, our y2 is 5 plus c, 3 over 2. So 4 plus this, that is 10 over 2. 5 plus 3, that is 8 over 2. 2 into 10 is 5, comma 4. So the midpoint of A and B is 5,4. So 5 is the mid number between 4 and 6, and this makes sense. If we have, let's say we have 4, 5, 6, so we can see that the 5 is in between 4 and 6. Then for the other point we have 3, 4, and 5. So you can see that 4 is the midpoint of 3 and 5. 5 is the midpoint of 4 and 6. So that is what this means. Now let's also try to find the Roman number 2. You can also give it a try. So midpoint. So let's say x1 plus x2 over 2, comma x2, sorry, y1 plus y2 over 2. So the x2 is negative 9 minus the negative 3 over 2. The y2 is 4 plus the y1 is also 4 over 2. So we can now see negative 9 minus this, that is just negative 12 over 2. 4 plus 4 is 8 over 2. So negative 12 divided by positive 2, that is negative 6. 2 into 8 is 4. So the midpoint of point C and D are negative 6,4. Okay, now let's do a different one. So this time we are going to find the values of A and B. So given the points of the midpoint, or given the coordinates of the midpoint, so S 5,2 is the midpoint of R, A plus 2,5, and T 6, B. So now here, let's first write the formula. So midpoint is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, so now in a case where you have been given the coordinates of the midpoint, so where there is a midpoint here, we are going to substitute with 5,2. So we can say 5,2 as our midpoint. Now let's look at, so the A plus 2 will be x1, then our x will be our 6 will be x2, our 5 is y1, our B is y2. So we can now substitute. So the x1 is A plus 2 plus our x2 is 6 over 2. Our y2 is b plus our y5 is, our y2 is 5 over 2. Okay, so let's simplify this one. So you can see that here we are going to have a plus, we can add 2 plus 6, that is 8 over 2, comma, b plus 5 over 2. Then we can see that the way the equation is, the first number from the midpoint, this is our x coordinate, then the other number is our y. So what happens is the x coordinate goes with the first part, then this one goes with the other part since it's a y coordinate. So what we are saying is, what we are going to do is this 5 must be equal to a plus 8 over 2, then our 2 will be b plus 5 over 2. So now we can solve for a, so cross multiply. So 1 times a plus 8 is just a plus 8 is equal to 2 times 5, that is just 10. Then we collect the like terms, so the 8 will move to the other side, where we have our now 10 minus 8, this will give us 2. Okay, now let's solve for this one. We cross multiply. So 1 times b plus 5 is b plus 5, which is equal to 2 times 2, that is just 4. We correct the like terms, so b is equal to 4. When 5 shift to the other side becomes negative 5. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So the value of a is positive 2 and the value of b is negative 2. So this is how you can answer if you are given the coordinates of the midpoint and asked to find the missing numbers. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.